When we talk about medical ethics, there are these two acronyms that carry a ton of weight: DNR and No CPR. Now, you might think they mean the same thing, but the difference between them, it can change literally everything at the end of someone's life. So today, we're going to dig into that crucial difference using a hypothetical case to see why getting these terms right is, without a doubt, a matter of life and death.
So to really get a handle on what's at stake here, let's step into a situation that's incredibly difficult, but also, unfortunately, pretty common. We'll start with a hypothetical case we're calling a family's difficult choice. It puts us right at the heart of this ethical dilemma.
Okay, so I want you to picture this. A 45-year-old man lying on a hospital bed, comatose. You know, someone who should be in the prime of his life, a family man. But right now, his condition is just dire. His future, completely uncertain.
And this isn't something that just happened. He has been attached to a respirator for 3 full years. For his family, that's over 1,000 days of waiting, of hoping, and just trying to navigate this incredibly painful new reality.
So let's just break down the hard facts of this situation. First, the doctors are saying there is absolutely no hope for recovery. Second, the financial burden of life support has become completely overwhelming for his family. So, facing all this, the physician suggests a do not resuscitate order, a DNR. But the family, they're hesitant. I mean, how could you not be? How do you even begin to make a choice like that?
And that hesitation, that right there is the core of what we're talking about today. This isn't just about one family's choice, it's a massive ethical conflict that we're calling the DNR dilemma.
The family's uncertainty really just boils down to this huge question. What makes a DNR order ethically okay? You know, when is it actually the right thing to do? Let's try to unpack that.
First things first, let's make sure we're all on the same page. Cardiopulmonary resuscitation, which we all know as CPR, is that emergency procedure you use to try and restart someone's heart and breathing after they've stopped. It's an aggressive, very physically demanding intervention.
This brings us to a really important concept in medical ethics. It's the idea that, at a certain point, medical care can be considered ethically extraordinary. But what does that actually mean in the real world?
Well, according to medical ethics, it's considered acceptable to withhold a treatment like CPR only when 3 specific conditions are met. 1, the patient has no hope for recovery. 2, the treatment itself creates an excessive burden, and that can be physical, emotional, or financial. And 3, and this is so important, the patient or their legally appointed proxy has to give their approval. All 3 of those things have to be true.
And this brings up a vital point that I think a lot of people miss. If a DNR or no CPR order is in place and that patient passes away, the cause of death is the disease they were fighting. It's not the act of skipping the procedure. And that distinction, that's critical. It can really help ease the immense burden on a grieving family.
Okay, this brings us to the most important part of this whole discussion, DNR versus no CPR. Because as we're about to see, these two are not the same thing, and the difference is massive.
So let's break this down. Over on the left, you've got do not resuscitate. This thing has a much wider scope. A DNR order can be interpreted to mean no CPR, sure, but it can also mean no hydration, no antibiotics, no other interventions. Now look at the right, no CPR. This is way more specific. It means one thing and one thing only. Don't pump the heart, don't intubate. The really scary part about a broad DNR is that it can actually lower the healthcare team's overall enthusiasm for care, while a specific no CPR order makes it crystal clear that all other care should continue just as it was.
So, as you can probably tell, the no CPR order is just a clearer and safer path. The source material we're looking at presents it as the much more beneficial option, and it's because it gets rid of all that dangerous ambiguity that comes with a general DNR.
But there is a really serious warning we need to talk about here. That ambiguity in a DNR order, it doesn't just cause confusion, it can actually open the door to potential abuse.
And the source material is incredibly blunt about this. I'm going to read this directly. Quote, a DNR order could be easily abused. Aside from not initiating extraordinary procedures, even ordinary care is at times withheld. Just let that sink in. Ordinary, basic care might be stopped.
So the terrifying implication here is that the vague nature of a DNR order can be exploited, sometimes with the aim of actually speeding up a patient's death. This is exactly why the specific words we use in these directives are so unbelievably important.
So after walking through this case, the ethics, and the very real risks,
It all comes down to one absolutely essential principle. Our final takeaway here is all about the need for clarity in end-of-life care.
And if there's just one thing you remember from this whole explainer, I hope it's this. In these moments, precision in our language isn't just some small detail, it's everything.
So let's just recap. No CPR gives you way more clarity. Why? Because it specifically targets one single procedure. It gets rid of the dangerous ambiguity of a broad DNR. It ensures all other ordinary care continues, no question. And in the end, it does a much better job of protecting the patient's dignity and their quality of care right up to the very end.
So we'll leave you with this question to think about. In matters of life and death, just how important is the precise meaning of a single word? Well, as we've seen today, the answer is profoundly. Thanks for joining us.